Dubai is full of bling bling and star-studded celebrities, and our guest today is no stranger to that, having been a football agent and still a football agent, and one of the biggest deal makers in town. Today we have Saif Rubie with us. Saif, how are you?
Pleasure. Great to have me here. Thank you very much.
It's great to have you, and you're a good friend. It's always good to have a nice chat with you. Saif, for our viewers, tell us about yourself. Who's Saif Rubie? Where were you born? What was your upbringing? What kind of history have you had?
Yeah, I was born in London, grew up in Abu Dhabi a long time ago, moved back to England where I spent most of my adult years, and I've been in Dubai for about 15 years now.
15 years. What did you study?
Business management.
Businessman in London?
In London, yeah.
In London,
Yeah.
nice. And then you came back to Abu Dhabi, you came back to Dubai.
Back to Dubai.
Okay, and what did you do when you first came back to Dubai?
Well, I was doing what I was already doing in England and Europe, which is I've been a FIFA licensed football agent for 27 years now.
What took you there? I mean, we all dream of being either football players or football agents or football coaches. I mean, you actually did it. How did that come about?
Well, growing up in London, I knew a lot of football players my age that were quite prominent guys.
Is that from the social scene or from
From the social scene?
Okay.
But then I started doing a bit of business with them, a bit of help working, supporting them in a few things. And then actually the person that actually told me I should become a football agent is David Ginola.
Yeah.
Legend French footballer who used to play for Tottenham Hotspur when he was in London. So I knew,
Were you a Hotspur fan? You can't say.
I can't
This
say.
is real talk, man. You can say whatever you want.
You know, when people ask me who I support, I tell them whoever pays me.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So that was it. And then I got my license, started from the bottom, worked my way up, and here I am.
Were you a smart street kid, you would say?
Yeah.
Street smart kid?
For sure.
Yeah.
I used to
Hustler?
I used to buy jeans from the market and sell them at school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Really? So you started, wheeling and dealing at a young age.
100%.
Very cool. What's one thing people consistently misunderstand about you or don't know about you? Because I know you're a social guy.
Yeah.
I in my younger age, I was very social as well, and I'm married with 2 kids now. But we know each other from a long time, and everybody in town seems to know Saif somehow. What's something that's misunderstood about you?
Maybe because I don't really take any nonsense.
Yeah.
So they look
You're a
at,
tough character. I can say that you're a tough character.
Yeah, but I'm a very fair person as well.
Yeah.
So for me, I only get agitated and angry when people don't do the right thing, which unfortunately in today's day and age, a lot of people just don't know how to do the right thing.
Yeah. And in the past couple of years, or in the past few years, you've been in the spotlight, Saif. Some good, some bad. I think usually the bad spotlight is covered more and tends to spread faster. Tell us a bit about this. Tell us a bit about this experience and what you learned from this experience, or what you felt about this experience, because this is not something that everybody experiences.
No,
right?
I mean, look, it's not really nice to get welcomed coming off an airplane by 6 armed police officers for sending an email. But, it is what it is. And the nature of my business is sometimes things get a bit rough, especially when you're dealing at the highest level of sport, music, entertainment, you name it. Obviously, it's not smooth sailing. And unfortunately, I was the victim of false allegations. Serious.
That's through your agent's job, right?
Football agent job.
Yeah.
So serious false allegations, which, to be honest, cost me the best part of the last 3 years of my life. And, still...
Tough, It was tough.
Very, very tough. But, thank God I was unanimously found not guilty in a criminal court. And
That must have felt amazing.
It was more relief than anything else. But to be honest, it's something that should have never happened. And,
Is it tougher, Safe, when it's in the public spotlight than when it's private, would you say? Or do you think it's...
yeah, of course. I mean, when the whole world thinks you're going to jail, it's not really a nice thing.
Yeah.
Especially when they think your character may be a reason for these kind of things. But in reality, I always say it, in life you can't be wrong and strong.
Yeah. And is this something that's common, Safe, in that industry, that these let's call them misunderstandings or these incidents happen often? There's a lot of quarrels.
No.
There's a lot of
no. People wouldn't.
Is it a dirty business? That's what I want. That's what I want
It's
to
not
ask.
a great business when it comes to these kind of things, and unfortunately, I think never has it happened where people have actually taken the time to go to the police and lie to the police in order to
Get out of a payment.
and put someone else in jail. So I guess as usual, I'm probably the first and only person that's suffered for that.
Did you? And I don't want to dwell on this, but it's an experience I think worth sharing with our
course.
listeners, because it doesn't
no
happen
problem.
to everyone. The way you handled it. Did you need help to handle it, or did you have to take it all on your own shoulders? Did you have family surround you, good friends? How did you cope with? Because the problem is with when something becomes public, right? It's and with especially with today's exposure to social media and all these things, it's all around you. So one can easily crumble, or one can easily break down if you want. How did you handle it? What helped you handle it?
Look, in these times, you find out who your real friends are.
Definitely.
And I'm quite a strong character anyway. So to be honest, like, even though it kind of broke me down inside, you have to, to the world, the show must go on. Obviously, I had a close circle of friends, including yourself. A lot of great people giving me different types of support, which meant the world to me. And thank God I was able to get through it without actually suffering major damage.
Unfortunately, I've had a few friends, and we've had a few friends in common in the last few years that have gone through, I would say, legal troubles or implicated in legal situations that have been very tough on them, very tough on their life. And people forget that. People forget that when you're when you're ambitious and you're doing big business, or you're trying to thrive, sometimes you get obstacles that you don't expect, and sometimes it's really big and serious obstacles, such like what happened in your case.
I was look, one thing I've learned, end of the day, when it comes to the law, a lot of innocent people could easily get found guilty,
and get unjustly
and that's what could have happened to me. But God
luckily
was on my
in your
side.
case,
No, look, I had great lawyers, and end of the day, I didn't do anything wrong. So it is what it is.
You said that your character is a no-nonsense character. Have you ever regretted being too honest in public, or maybe not in public, even with somebody?
I never regret, because I always say what I say, and I don't.
So I have a saying on that. I always say, better to live with remorse than to live with regret, and I think I stand by that.
Yeah. So for me, it's one of those things where I never regret what I say, because whatever.
Because that's who I am.
That's who I am, exactly.
And people who know you know that, right?
That's it. And at the end of the day, people know me for the positive and the negatives, even in my business. End of the day, even my own associates, partners, people that I work with will complain about me, but they also know when they want to go to war,
the guy
first person they call in the world, in anything, is me.
Yeah, I love that. What's one risk you've taken that's changed your life? Can you think of one isolated risk that you've taken at some point? You said, that's it, I'm going all in. This is do or die.
I mean, look, in my business, which is a football agency business, especially, it's not a regular business, let's say, as in like, you don't have regular income. You could go months and years without payment.
It's one of those where you got paydays rather than,
So the reality is,
real estate's the same.
Yeah. And then the reality is, you work on a deal or a player or a situation, and it could be tough times, and you put all your effort into it, and in reality, if it pays off, great. If it doesn't, you have a big problem. I guess the nature of the beast of my business, it's like that quite often.
All right, so now we've talked about Saif, the person, what brought us here, the unfortunate hard times you went through in the last few years, which hopefully now are behind you. Let's talk a bit about your business, so about FGSL, the agency.
Yes.
What's the real story behind FGSL? How did it start? I mean, I know you told me that people were telling you should do this. At some point, you said, you know what? I'm doing this. I'm going to go to FIFA. I'm going to get my license, and I'm starting this agency, and I'm going to put everything behind it. I might not get a single player, and I might sign up Lionel Messi, right? So how did that happen in a quick few?
No, obviously when I got my license, I was the youngest licensed agent in the world. So I never worked for a big agency. I never worked for anybody.
So you learned I
made it up as I go along, just because I knew how to get deals done in terms of just general business. But also I had a good feeling for connecting the dots, which is basically, as a football agent, is very important, because you've got to be able to connect buying parties with selling parties, work, manage talent, manage family, there's a lot of different moving parts. started from that, and
First big break. What was your first big break?
I moved a player to Manchester City in 2008. He was an Ecuadorian striker who moved from Switzerland to Manchester City. Sven-Goran Eriksson was the coach at the time, and that was my first big deal.
First big payday.
First big payday, and well, it was a good, it was an okay payday.
In general, on those deals, what is it? I hear a lot. It's 10%. Is that the actual fee, or how does that work? Or is that agents?
It varies because it depends whether you're a player's agent, whether you're acting for the club.
Yeah. Or you're a deal maker simply.
Yeah. So the actual total value of whatever fees you would get paid varies from situation to situation.
A guy like, let's not name names, but let's say the agent of one of the top 10 players in the world, when this guy signs a contract, how much do you think the agent makes?
10%.
10%, which is huge.
Yeah.
Which is quite huge. And what's the role of the agent besides obviously negotiating contract terms and all that? Well, on a day-to-day basis, what's the role of the agent?
Everything, managing their commercial activities, making sure their surroundings are good, making sure their family life is good, taking care of of a lot of off-the-field stuff, and just giving players support on everything that they may or may not need.
Okay. What's the hardest part of managing these high-profile players? Is it their egos, their expectations, their behaviors?
Yeah, managing expectations.
Their expectations.
Yeah. Because, and unfortunately, the players and the business, they've become more and more delusional over the years.
Interesting.
So it's very, very hard to kind of manage that side.
Why have they become delusional? Because some people are offering
Because
them...
the money is just, unfortunately have young players getting paid a lot of money, and then they think that's normal life, and it isn't.
And I know a lot of footballers, and we know a lot of them in common. And what is it with is it that they're making too much money too young, or is it there's nobody around them to kind of coach them on how to deal with that money?
I think that's it. I think it's more education in general. I mean, financial education, we all need it.
Yeah, of course.
That's
of course.
normal.
And that everybody, not
Everybody
just
needs that.
players.
Yeah, we all need that. That's to this day.
And are they left on their own? I mean, when they start making these millions, are they left on their own, or is it not the agents' jobs to come say, look, now we need to get a financial guy in to manage it? Or
the problem is that when you have a financial guy, for example, he's motivated by his own commission.
Yes, of course.
So he doesn't.
But that's for everybody, not only for football.
No, because I always tell people, for example, if you were going to have a bunch of money, I personally never get involved in helping players in that side.
You don't? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Because if things go wrong, they blame it on you.
And if things go well, they don't thank you.
There you go. So for me, I always tell people, listen, if you're going to do anything, just buy real estate.
Yeah. Easy. Have you ever had to walk away from a client?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because
for what reasons? Without naming names, for what reasons, for example?
Just the fact that they do not listen to your advice and do not understand what you're trying to do for them, and sometimes the headache is like that. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Okay. What's the deal that you're the proudest of? I think I know the answer to that because you post a lot about it. But
to be honest, every deal is great because there isn't a one deal that I was involved in specifically, because I've worked with some of the biggest players in the history of the Premier League that are all playing for some of the biggest clubs in the world. So for me, it's like different deals have different pressures and expectations. For example, I brought Lucas Paqueta, who's one of the best players in the world for Brazil, play to West Ham in the Premier League. That was a difficult deal. He should have moved to Manchester City, but he had an issue with some, betting allegations again, which
you have to deal with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
because
at the end of the day, these guys are teenagers or they're young adults. I mean, they're like all of us. Nobody's perfect.
No,
right?
they're normal. They're human beings. But like I said, things happen, and for me, it's just I'm proud of every deal because I handle every deal as if it's the same.
Yeah. And look, I said it in a very loving way before that you're a wheeler dealer, but I mean it in the best of ways. You're a deals guy, right? You love making deals.
That's it.
And in Dubai, it seems like every Tom, Dick, and Harry is a deal maker or is a consultant. Or what sets you apart from these people? And I say that knowing that you are a deal maker, not one of those guys.
I get the job done.
Yeah.
And even if things don't work out, I'll always put my money where my mouth is. I like taking risks. And for me, it's not even about succeeding. It's about actually having a go. For me, that's actually what separates the real dealmakers.
Yeah.
From the pretend ones.
Yeah, I hear you. They say your net worth is your network, and you're one of those peoples in this town that when I need to get to somebody, you're one of the people I'll call. Say, hey, do you have a connection to this guy? And more often than not, you do. And I've used your help in the past, and thank you for that. Do you believe that your network is your net worth? How much of that is attributed to the network, and how much of it is attributed to skill?
I think it's a combination.
Yeah.
This is something that I've personally, it's been natural to me ever since I was a kid. So even pre-social media, pre-camera phones, pre all this stuff, I was the one when I was younger in England, for example, growing up, connecting a lot of different people. And the reality is, obviously, I've not, let's say, maximized, let's say, business and revenue from my network, but I'm okay because.
But that's all right though, Saif. You know what? I often, because as you know, I have a pretty good network as well, and I believe that I have that network because I've never asked these people for anything. I've never tried to make money out of that network, and
no, for sure. But I'm just saying in general. I'm saying like, when you're an entrepreneur and when you have a great network of people globally, you can always make more business.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I've not pursued that as much because.
Do you regret that today? Well, you said you don't regret, but do you think that you should have done it more?
No, not really, because I'm lucky enough in a way where as long as I have what I'm happy in my life, I'm not greedy.
Yeah.
Of course, I always need and want to achieve more. But success comes as you get more things done, and it comes when it's.
Yeah, fair. What's the wildest behind the scenes moment that you've seen in a negotiation or in a deal? Call it a deal gone wrong, or something out of the ordinary a bit that'd be fun to share with our viewers. Obviously, the whole media story that we know, they can just Google it. But
no, I mean, look, for example, I was bringing another top Premier League player, Demba Ba, to the Premier League, and he was supposed to move to Stoke City, and he'd done his medical. He was dressed up in his Stoke City jerseys, and we were all celebrating, because we thought the deal was done, everyone's happy. And then the coach and the director walks into the room and says that he'd failed his medical. So,
seriously?
Yeah. So then obviously it was a disaster because he wasn't moving to Stoke, which in the end was a blessing in disguise.
Because he moved to.
Well, he ended up moving, so I ended up bringing him to West Ham United, and it was really funny because
did he pass his medical there?
Yeah, it was a different structure of the deal.
Okay.
So the club that owned him in Germany actually lost a lot of money because of that failing of the medical, but he ended up becoming a big Premier League striker for West Ham, Newcastle, Chelsea. Earned a fortune in China, Turkey. But it was really funny because.
Were you accompanying him throughout, or just through part of that journey?
No, I was. He's still a friend to this day. He's actually now the director of Dunkirk in France, and doing a great job as a director of football. So we've still kept in touch over the years. But it was funny because after he failed the medical, he actually scored a hat-trick against Stoke. And then I sent a message to the coach of the team.
I think he's all right.
Yeah, and then I said to him, I said, shit. I sent him the picture of Demba in the Stoke City jersey.
And he said, "This could have been you." This could have been you.
But he took it. It was a bit of banter.
When they fail these medicals, I mean, out of curiosity, is it a medical issue as in sickness, or is it like, his knee is not 100%, or his back, he has a back problem, or is it a combination, or it could be anything?
Demba Ba, for example, never missed any games.
Yeah.
So, but when you may scan his knee, you think there's an issue with it.
Cartilage or whatever.
Whatever it is. Okay. So clubs, because they're investing so much money into these players, these deals, big money.
Yeah. They want to make sure.
They want to make sure everything. And obviously these medicals have gotten more and more
sophisticated
over the years. But like I said, with him, it was a unique situation because before he'd actually moved to England, which was in January, he'd already played, I think, 25 games in Germany. Yeah. So there was nothing wrong with him. Yeah.
But hey, he ended up proving everybody wrong,
and look,
he had a great career.
The best thing that ever happened to him was failing that medical.
Yeah. Sometimes things in life, you take unexpected turns.
That's it.
So Saif, so you deal mostly, I would say, with leagues in Europe, right? You place players in leagues in Europe. where do you scout your players? So where do you look for players? I know you do some in Africa, some in South America.
By referral.
By referral.
So people will come to me because they
Hey,
know.
there's a really good player there.
Yeah.
And at what age do you start following them? At what age do you start?
I mean, look, it could be from any age, from 10, 11, 12 years old.
That early, huh?
Yeah, because obviously if there's a talent that's doing really well, but more often than not, I would be friends with their parents, for example.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep an eye on them.
Okay, interesting. You're based in the UAE.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that you're based in the UAE besides obviously taxes, which is amazing for all of us? But is there a reason geographically, or would you not be better off in Europe? Or
I identified before everybody else.
You got me scared when you said that you started the sentence with "I identify as."
No. Yeah, no. I identified a long time ago that England and London specifically was not going in the right direction as a country and as a city.
Okay.
In terms of safety, the whole country mood, everything else like that. And I also identified that the UAE and Dubai is a future global sports hub, which it is right now. You know, the reality is Dubai is the place where everybody in the world wants to come to. And even now, I'm working very closely with Dubai Sports Council for the World Sports Summit, which is happening under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Hamdan. Is happening in end of December. And we have all the biggest sports stars in the world coming to Dubai. So
I want an invitation to that.
Don't worry, it's already there.
Saif, you've seen the best and worst sides of fame. What's your biggest lesson from it all?
Stay humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the reality is that unfortunately people...
Ups and downs in life.
No, people lose their mind. It's very easy to lose your mind when you think you're something that you're not. So for me, I'm always just... I try and keep it real, and I just like to enjoy life and be happy, and, you know, but whereas sometimes some people take it too seriously, and things, you know, not everything, if things come up, there's always ups and downs.
You must have seen a lot this euphoria, if you want, of these kids or these teenagers or these young lads making a lot of money all of a sudden, and then their personality completely changes, or their character changes.
Yeah.
And on other side, you must have seen some that are already always remained quite humble.
To be honest, the families and the parents play a big part in that. So end of the day, if you're raised well, if you're given the right grounding in different ways, then, you know, whether you end up... Look, it's not... I'm not saying it's easy, because if you're a young professional and suddenly you're making, you know, millions a year, it's a big thing. So it's not easy to kind of avoid the noise.
What's one truth about power or influence that people don't want to hear, right? What do you think, when you have power or influence, what is it that you don't want to hear? You don't want to get criticized, maybe, that, look, man, it's getting to your head. What is it that you've seen people struggle with?
The truth.
Yeah, that's a very good answer. That's a very, very good answer.
Yeah, the truth. Because the reality is, like I said, even myself personally, end of the day, you know, I have my good parts, I have my bad parts. But, you know, you decide whether the good parts hopefully outweigh the bad parts. But the truth is what really affects people in general.
Saif, do you think today, with the world we live in, with social media, with camera phones, like you were saying, all that, with the media, with the story that happened with you, even in a world that never forgets, let's call it this way, how do you rebuild a reputation? Not only for you, but
in general,
your reputation.
To be honest,
your reputation actually came out quite unscathed from that, which is great. Alhamdulillah. But you know, these players that you manage, the guy goes out on a party somewhere, somebody takes a picture of him doing something stupid, or
look, I'll be honest with you. In the world of sport and entertainment, to a degree, unfortunately, they don't even care about all of that, because all they care about is what happens.
Performance. Yeah.
So it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because people easily forget bad things that happen.
Yeah.
But for those people, it's a good thing because you're judged by what you do.
Do you still think that honesty and like you said, the humility, authenticity is still key in your business world, or in your job, if you want, or do you think it's all about games and outsmarting the other these days?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of shiesty people in my world.
Why?
Because a lot of money. So when any business that has a lot of money, and especially when you have a lot of newcomers, you know, family members becoming agents. People that were from the street
Not
becoming
professionals,
agents,
yeah.
not professionals. End of the day, I've been doing this a long, long time, and I've done it.
You see more and more of that?
Yeah.
His best friend or his cousin or his brother?
Of course, happens all the time.
And then you have to deal with them, right? You have to negotiate
I've got to deal
with
with them, and I've got to, have a right type of dealings with them. It's not easy, but
Do you often get into situations like, who's this guy? Like, do I have to negotiate with this guy? He has no idea what he's talking about or what he's doing?
Yes, but thank God, if I did have to deal with that, I sometimes just not deal with them at all.
Yeah. Okay, I see. That's where the no nonsense character comes in. What's the biggest challenge in your business today of running it from here? And what is the biggest challenge? I mean, we talked a bit about the fact that you don't have regular income, that there's paydays. We've talked about the fact that you can deal with adverse media. There's a lot of sharks out there. There's a lot of snakes out there. There's a lot of all that. What's the toughest part of your day-to-day job? And is it something that you want to do for a long time to come?
To be honest, when people always ask me that question, I always tell them the same thing, which is, I do what I do because I'm very good at it. Is it something that I'm more interested in the administrative side of football, let's say, in terms of maybe owning.
Is it something you'd consider?
Oh, for sure. Owning and running a football club for me is a lot more, let's say, interesting. Yeah, interesting, because I know how to do it, because I've been involved on both sides of the fence, advising clubs, working with players, all of that. And
was that your dream to own a football club? You'd say?
It's not about a dream. Is
it your goal? Let's call it in the like the Suits guy. I don't have dreams. I have goals, right? Or
no, listen. If somebody
Harvey
thought,
Spencer,
if somebody thought that I was knowledgeable enough in my business to be able to take a responsible position overseeing and running a football club at a high level, then yeah.
Would you like to be a sports director or something?
Not a sports
director.
Like that? I wouldn't need to. I'm more capable than a sports director.
Okay, so I'm not very fluent in the language of football. Sports director, I would say, like as a general manager of a team, or I don't know what they call that.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah.
It's
something interesting.
I'm North America. I grew up in Canada, so it's the North American stuff. The GM, I thought the sports director was the equivalent.
To
of that.
be honest, they do have a GM here as well in football. So yeah, no, for sure. It's something interesting to me.
But the difference is, sorry to interrupt you, in hockey, for example, or it's not the coach that does the trades and all that and signing players, it's the GM. Whereas in football, it's the actual manager who's if you want the coach that does most of the signing.
To be honest, football has gone in the North American model a lot.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, as a coach, if you're a great coach and have proven your at the end of the day, even when a club makes a decision to try and acquire a player, the coach has to sign it off because he has to work with that player.
Same in North American sports, but I have a feeling that in European sports, in football specifically, it's the coach that is the lead on that deal. Whereas in North America, it's really the general manager looking, asking the coach what are his needs, and then him making the deals.
And also, there's a lot of now stats plays a huge part in football. So that's coming into the game.
Advanced stats. What do you think, by the way, speaking of North America, what do you think of the MSL?
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I mean,
do you think a lot of people think that this is an up and coming league, then it's going to become at a European level? I don't think so.
No,
but what do you think?
I don't think so. No, the quality is not there yet. But look, there's big money there.
Yeah.
Just like there's big money in Saudi Arabia. There was big money in China. Not anymore.
Back when our friend was there.
Exactly. Now he's coaching. I think he just became a national team
for Uzbekistan.
That's it.
He's going to the World Cup, man.
Is he going to the World Cup?
Yeah, they've qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah. I saw that. Actually, when I saw him announced, I thought of you. I was like,
Fabio Cannavaro, shout out to you, my friend, and good luck in the World Cup. What do you want to leave behind as a legacy for yourself and for the business that you've built? I can say this, and this is real talk, so I'll be very honest. I've known you for 20 years or so. You've tamed down a lot over the years. You know, a part of your character is also to be very social. Yes. That's part of your business and all that. And you used to be somebody who was very feisty, somebody who was very loud is not the right word, but somebody who was very out there, vocal, very opinionated, all that. And with time, I've seen you kind of tame down and become a lot more, not only humble, but a lot more calm and confident and these things. What's the legacy that you want to leave behind? What do you want people sitting in a coffee shop 20 years from now? Remember this guy, Saif Rubie. You know, what do you want people to say?
I just always want to be known as the person who always does what I say, and that's all. Your word is your bond.
I agree. I agree.
So
with that.
for me, that's the most important thing. As long as you're a person who always tries to do everything. Like for me, the only times ever something happens that something that I didn't say, for example, is maybe something out of my control.
Yeah.
But I try to avoid that also, because it also reflects on me. So when you're doing any nature of business, you have to really make sure that your word is your bond.
A stand-up guy. That's something that I always, when I really like someone, or when, so, if I had to summarize it in one sentence, he's a stand-up guy. Look, he's that's a great answer. Actually, I really hope for you that's the legacy that you leave behind. You
that's
deserve
all
it.
I hope for.
Saif, we're gonna finish with one sentence that I'd like you to finish for me.
Okay.
Finish this sentence. The real cost of power is
Jealousy.
really.
For
So
sure.
have you had you've had people that were jealous of your successes that you hear?
Unfortunately, I deal with that every day.
Really?
Yeah.
In what sense?
Just I know the fact that
People talking trash. People
No,
saying,
I just know for a fact that a lot of people don't really wish me well.
wow, that's deep, man. Really, that's unfortunate.
It's life.
Saifo, thanks really for sharing all this with us, the insights, especially, the football insights. I think this is something that's going to be very interesting.
No worries, anytime.
I really appreciate your time and being with us. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you enjoyed the different insights that Saif gave us. We'll see you on the next show.